Let's take a moment to start looking at different ways that as coaches we could recognize both disengagement and engagement on the platform. Understanding what disengaging behaviors look like through the LRM can help us take the appropriate action to keep students focused on their path. Now from the tools menu, I'm going to access my LRM so I can get my list of students in front of me. Here I get a view from the reactive view, which we've talked about, the proactive view, and the stream view. Each of these views can give me a different sense of each student's experience. So I always start here. As a good coach, I want to know which students are logging into the platform. That can indicate for me which students are actually have access to the content or to the messages or to the interactions that can help their learning experience become more engaging. So if I see students haven't logged in a while, I could, as a coach, reach out to them via a message that goes to their email, a phone call, just any way to bring them back into the platform and continue their learning. Check-ins here are a way for me to know if I'm doing my due diligence as a coach to check in, whether it's a recommendation, a message, a comment, a post on their activity stream, just for me as a best practice of keeping in touch with that student's progress. The session here is another way for me to know if I've really reached out to that student on an individual level and created a kind of valuable interaction to get an idea of what their progress has been. Now, sessions on the platform we've talked about already, and the idea is a session is only when I've clicked this box here that indicates that it's notes from a coaching session. But programmatically, a session can mean a phone call, an in-person session, could be a boot camp that they're doing once every month, but you want to represent that interaction, that valuable one-on-one interaction or that phone call here somehow. So clicking the box, adding the notes here and pressing enter will then create a coaching session for that student. Now back in this reactive view, another way for me to know kind of like an idea of the type of engagement these students are having is looking at their goal set. If I notice that a student is setting a large number of goals, I know that they're signing on to the platform. I know that they're making attempts to progress along their learning path. Then I can compare that with how many goals they've missed, the average of hours they have on the platform per week, any pending notifications or messages I have from them, and then looking at the proactive view, how many mentors or mentees or communities they have. This really can give me a clear understanding of the type of engagement that they're showing on the platform. Now, if you go back to this reactive view, if I see on the opposite side of that, if I see that students are not setting goals, they may be logging in, but they're not adding any learning content, I may want to go in, send them an individual message, use my Super R function here to recommend certain apps, badges, or maybe a community or a mentor that can help them along the way. The idea is that this information on these views is indicating the type of action that is necessary for a coach to take to engage that student. Now, not all actions should be negative. For example, in this reactive view, I definitely want to reach out to students who are not signing in, who are not completing goals. Also, I want to reach out to them if they're not adding mentors or they haven't developed their objective yet. But I also want to create positive interactions with students that are making progress. So if I notice in their activity stream that they have added certain goals, if they have reached out to certain mentors, if they've added specific aspects of their objective that they're working on, being able to say, great job, or great progress, or commending them on anything that they've done or progressed in the platform is a nice way to recognize engagement. And if we know anything about conditioning, when we recognize engagement, we're enabling that engagement to continue. So those are some ways to kind of look at disengagement and engagement on the platform through the LRM. Another final way that we can look at it is just through the community page. Now, when we're looking at students active in our community, we're looking at the students who are posting, who are interacting with other students, who are creating discussions, adding to discussions. When we don't see students here, then we want to try as coaches to bring them into these valuable discussions and these interactions. This can help them create the type of experiences to supplement their learning.